What a week it was in the Champions League. Some amazing goals across the board,
quality.
amazing performances. And it gave us the perfect time to talk all things Champions League, didn't it?
Yeah, I think the individual quality in this week's Champions League was absolutely remarkable. So that's what we're going to talk about, some of the individuals remaining in the Champions League. We're going to be getting our guests to pick the best player in each position in the Champions League. Now, there are a couple of caveats to this. This is going to be based on form this season, and they still have to be in the competition. So you can't include the likes of Salah. There's only 8 teams you can pick from here. Should we start with the goalkeeper?
Yeah, let's do it.
Who's the best goalkeeper remaining in the Champions League for you this season?
I think it's simple. I think it's the first time I've seen him live. He is so big.
Yeah.
Oh my good, he is massive. I've never seen him live before.
Did you not know that about?
No, you've seen him on TV, but when you see him, oh my goodness me,
He's 6'7".
his hands are like this big. It's insane. How quickly he is like a triple save, and how quickly he gets up. For a guy of that size, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Courtois, it could have actually been a lot worse for Madrid. I mean, he did make some great saves, didn't he? Even when Madrid lose 3-0, he's one of their better players.
I don't know if, like, the way Real Madrid play and the way they've played over the last few years, I don't know if they could have the success they had without a goalkeeper like Courtois. I know Lunin did great for them last year, but the amount of chances they concede and the way they almost seem like they're always living on the edge, they need a keeper like this. And when Alisson had that amazing game against PSG, and all like the spotlight was on him, and people were saying it's the best goalkeeping performance I've ever seen. This is the best goalkeeper in the world. I was a little surprised because Courtois has genuinely made performances like that so many times over the last 5 years.
He's made Champions League finals. He's won games for Madrid like that.
I think, honestly, I think he's the best goalkeeper since Manuel Neuer. This is like a goalkeeper you want to make in a lab. He's actually pretty good with the ball at his feet too. I think that gets ignored at times. But the way his limbs almost seem to extend at times, it's ridiculous.
I think I'd put Alisson over him personally, but he's close. I think sometimes keepers get put in this category of like they're good with their feet or they're good with their hands, and he gets underrated with his feet because he was pinging it over to Kivior because they were trying to target our left. And it was pretty.
Some of the saves this guy. I mean, the fact that the race free kicks had to be that exceptional. Because any closer, he probably gets a hand on it.
All right, let's get Thibaut up.
Yeah.
Tap in.
Stick him up then. We'll go to right back. Don't forget, it is just, we mentioned Alisson there, can only be from the 8 remaining sides, which are Arsenal, Madrid, Bayern, Inter, PSG, Villa, Barca and Dortmund. So that's how we're doing it. Right back. I think you've got total agreement as well.
Yes, Liam.
Yeah, you're in timber, man.
Good man.
I mean, it's a little disappointing.
Jules Koundé.
I considered him for sure. Hakimi as well, too, I think has been really impressive. But it's really disappointing, man. Obviously, me and Joe support Man United. I think we've traveled to Ajax or gone to an Ajax-related player the last 7 times the last 2 years. And the fact that we haven't come back with this guy once is just disheartening. I mean, the performances that he's put in, obviously, since coming back from injury last year are sensational. And the season that's kind of been a little tumultuous for Arsenal. There's been injuries in big positions. I think he's been such a constant in his 1v1 ability, his ability to kind of shift left to right. And I think his build as well, too. He's perfect for one-on-one defending, as well as just being brilliant on the ball as well.
I think that's a good point as well, because he's played 43 appearances for Arsenal this season. That's off the back of a horrific ACL injury where he only, I think, made 3 appearances last season. So that's credit to his recovery from one of the hardest injuries in football as well.
He is absolutely, he's so stable. Like, I can't describe, when he's under contact or whatever, the lockdown he did on Vinny Jr. was, I've never seen anything like it. He just would not leave him alone. I think the only thing you can say about Tim, I don't think there's a better 1v1 defender right now, in these areas out wide. I really don't. I think we saw that against Vinny. But going forward is probably the only place you'd say, could he improve? I actually think for me, as an Arsenal fan, it's about the blend. He wants the ball to feet. He wants to give it. He doesn't want to run in behind the same way Ben White does. I think with White, Ødegaard and Saka, there's a proper blend. If you get more of a runner around him, obviously he has Saka as well, you'll see his quality going forward as well. I think he just needs a bit more running around him.
As an Arsenal fan, quickly, when everyone's fit, Ben White or Timber, who'd you start?
I go Ben White. I go Timber.
Again, it depends on the blend. I think if you've got... It depends who you're playing. If you're playing a one area, I'd go with Timber, probably.
Okay, stick him up.
Okay, centre-backs. Let's do them as a pair, shall we? See if there's any disagreement yet, because it's all getting a bit kind in the studio at the moment.
Sorry.
You don't like that, do you?
No.
You went for Bastoni in the end. Okay.
So let's chat about Bastoni first then, because you both picked him.
Yeah, I got Bastoni for me. So I guess this is... he's just ridiculous. I find this guy a bit of a unicorn, to be honest with you, in terms of the way he plays. Obviously, plays in a back 3 on the left-hand side, but the positions this guy takes up throughout a 90-minute game of football are unlike probably any center back I've seen. He's playing practically left wing at times, bombarding down the left, his diagonal. His performance against Bayern Munich, if you guys haven't been able to check it out, was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I watched that game at the same time, actually, and what I thought of that is Bayern Munich on the ball. I mean, they dominated large possessions of that game going forward, but Inter Milan is so well drilled defensively. It makes me think if he wasn't playing in that game, but I think Bayern would have probably won comfortably.
And the thing is as well too, on the ball, he is so crucial to their build-up in terms of literally dribbling the ball out the back, the diagonals that he plays from one side to the other. Inter, for me, are the best team in the world at building from front to, back to front and side to side. And I think a huge part of that is down to him.
Okay, stick him up then. He's nailed on. Let's chat about the other two Arsenal players, because there's disagreement here. You've gone Gabriel, you've gone Saliba. So Alex has come to you as an Arsenal fan. Why Saliba over Gabriel this season for you?
Well, actually, I think it probably makes more sense to go on the left, right? I think it was more about positions, really. I think you could go with either. I think we'll come to a player a little later who has this problem as well. Saliba's so consistent that sometimes when someone has a season like that, people think, oh, he's gone ahead of him. Saliba on the ball, I still think it's been his best campaign in terms of like punching that ball in. Last season, if I had a small criticism of Saliba, he has so many touches, like one of the most in the Premier League. He doesn't always start off the attacks with the same, the same quality that I always want. And he's added that this season. Maybe there's a couple of moments here and there, but I mean, there's no wrong answer. You know what I mean? They're both great picks.
What makes them so brilliant too is the blend, as you said, the connection that these guys two have. This guy is just an aggressor for me. I love Gabriel, and you're talking about like. Obviously, I don't think you mean it particularly for Gabriel, but one player having like a rush like this. The thing with Gabriel though is he's been so good for 3 years now, and like. I almost feel a little uncomfortable the way people talk about Gabriel and Saliba, because Saliba, I think, is the more natural talent. I think he's a bit more talented than Gabriel. But when your performances are as good and consistent as Gabriel's have been over the last 3 years, surely now he has to be, when you're talking about the best center backs in the world, at the forefront of those conversations with the Van Dijks, with the Salibas, with the Bastonis as well, too. And I like him because of like the aggressiveness in the air. The performance against Gyökeres earlier in the season when Gyökeres was on crazy form in the Champions League. He completely shut him down.
Chips him a goal as well. He's the top scoring defender in the Premier League since his debut. So where do we go with that one? I think
either of you willing to...
I think you could go either in terms of actually building an 11, right footer, left footer. I think...
Who do you think has been better in the Champions League?
In the Champions League?
Yeah.
Good question.
That's a very good question.
I think that's...
Arguably Saliba. I think Gabriel's been better in the league. Do you know what's funny about both of them, about Bastoni and Gabriel?
Do you want to call it then as the Arsenal fan?
I don't mind.
I think in terms of an 11, probably Saliba on the right.
I think Saliba on the right.
But there's no wrong answer.
Let's move on to the left back.
This is the biggest tap-in of the whole thing, isn't it, I think?
What a player.
That goal.
Oh, incredible, incredible.
The composure.
In terms of greatest left backs in the world right now, where is he for you?
To be honest, I don't agree with you when you said tap-in, because I think Balde was very, very close to making my team as well, too. And I think he's so crucial for them bombing down the left. But this guy, in terms of both sides of the game, I mean, come on, he made Mohamed Salah obsolete over 2 legs. Genuinely, I haven't seen many players shut down his game the way Mendes did.
He's only 22 as well.
I think Balde's an interesting shout.
I think he's been really good.
When you look at him, you expect him to be that overlapping quality player, and he is that, but he can also tuck in and play with both feet.
He's so technically
he has everything.
And there were moments where Morgan Rogers was like running away from him, and like Nuno, his pace over like 15 yards was like almost like he was jogging back.
He's really a complete left back. He doesn't really have many weaknesses in his game. I would say maybe the one thing is his focus levels at time. To be fair, the Villa goal that they do score does come from his giveaway against Liverpool. The first goal at Paris, I did think he could have been a little better. But the completeness of his game is just ridiculous.
At 22 as well. So let's get him up. Let's get him up. We'll go to the deeper line midfielder, first central midfielder. See if there is any disagreement. Because again, I think it's all been too nice so far.
Okay.
This is the deeper lying, you said?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, then right off the bat, he can't be there. He's not the deeper.
There might be a bit of recency bias here, but this guy, I think, I think he's got the most chances created of any midfielder in the Premier League since 2025 started. He is absolutely everywhere. I genuinely believe Declan Rice could be a world-class centre-back, 6, 8. You can maybe push him further forward, but 3 positions.
I was like 10 out of you.
It's a little bit far. Maybe it's an Arsenal fan bias. I think he'd be world-class in 3 positions. The ground he eats up, like you watch him, maybe it's unfair, but against a Modric or whatever. I mean, you saw him up against Bellingham. Like duel-wise, he is absolutely everything for us. And I really need him in this team. My Arsenal bias has gone into hyperdrive.
Let's talk about Vitinha a bit, because I think he's been one of my favourite players in Europe to watch this season.
And how good have PSG been as a whole, as a collective?
The balance of that midfield three, though, without having the physicality of an Arsenal midfield where you've got the likes of Rice and Partey in there. They don't need that, because the technical quality is just...
I think Thierry Henry said it best. He literally spoke about Vitinha. He said he's playing a different sport. Like, the way this guy controls games... against Aston Villa, I think he broke the record this season for most passes completed, most passes attempted.
I think it was 150.
Highest percentage, 97% of his passes accurate. But the thing with Vitinha as well, too, it's not like it's like passes to his defenders or his vertical passing as well, too. Passes in the final third. That game, he had the most of any Champions League game all season. The guy's a passing metronome, the likes that... I mean, I think he's very similar to Verratti, who, of course, was so brilliant for PSG, but he reminds me so much of Xavi in terms of just he's always scanning, always getting on the ball, so many short passes. PSG do not tick the way they do. I think, look, there might be teams that you could argue are better than them. Barcelona have been brilliant this season. Arsenal obviously beat them. But in terms of keeping the ball, I think PSG at the moment are probably the best team in Europe, and I think a huge part of that is down to Vitinha's willingness to just always be on it.
I agree as well. I think why he's such an important part for PSG for me is they've got so many attacking, forward-thinking players that do play on the last line effectively and that are exciting to watch. But he's so crucial at holding that balance in midfield. And I think if he was taken out of that team, you'd notice a big drop-off.
1,000%. Yeah, 100%. He's metronomic in terms of you take him out of that PSG team, you replace him with Zerami or something. The way PSG play changes completely.
He's the perfect Luis Enrique midfielder.
Yeah. I think basically off the ball, I'd go with Rice, and on the ball, I'd probably go with.
So you're happy to concede with this one, are you?
I think so. Maybe as a deep player, because Rice is higher up.
I was going to say, Rice, one last thing. Rice, I love Rice. He's one of the best players in the world.
Two top players.
I think we have to stop calling Rice this season as a defensive midfielder. And in fact, I almost feel like it does him a disservice calling the work that he does. He's practically occupying that high left position at times.
The thing,
he's got 4 Champions League goals, Declan Rice, as well, to be fair. I don't think there's a player in his position.
I still think that debate, though, is there. I think there's a lot of Arsenal fans I speak to still prefer him a little bit deeper.
Maybe.
Yeah, potentially. It depends what you want to do. Because he's higher, basically means we can stop attack sooner. We can press the ball to him. It just depends what you want to do in your midfield, basically. But for what he does, he's world class.
Well, Alex is happy to concede this one then. So Vitinha it is.
So special.
Let's look at your other 2 midfielders then.
I think there's an agreement again here. So, very nicey.
This is a beautiful midfield, by the way. If you had a midfield of these 3, my goodness.
In terms of the blend, I would stick Rice in. But if we're just going with the best 3 players.
Yeah, this is a nice midfield, man.
Is Pedri the best central midfielder on the planet right now?
I think so.
I looked at him compared to other La Liga midfielders, and I'm not joking. It's like through passes first, chances created first, assists first, progressive passes first. He's streets ahead.
4 goals, 4 assists.
I think he's a genius. And you know what it is, What I'm going to say might sound unpopular, but it's why I really don't like the Ballon d'Or, for example, because I think the criteria is always changing. But last season, Rodri was pushed forward for the Ballon d'Or because of how brilliant and crucial he was with his midfield play for club and country. What Pedri has done this season for Barcelona in the Champions League and the league is ridiculous. And I don't see him anywhere in those conversations because guys have more goal contributions. But that's why, for me, the Ballon d'Or is so inconsistent. What Pedri has done this season for Barcelona, I know there's guys, we're going to talk about guys who are flashier, guys who scored more goals, guys who've created more chances. But he is the most important player on that Barcelona team. I think you could argue he's the best performer on that Barcelona team this season. He is everything. Passing, even in terms of clearances, in terms of winning the ball back, he does everything for that team.
He runs the most as well.
Yeah.
One thing I will say, and sorry to go back to the Rice thing, do you think we maybe should weight off the ball work more? Because you spend 95% of the game off the ball. So if you're better off the ball, surely that should push you higher. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I would never value off the ball work over on the ball work for a midfielder, but 100%. Look at N'Golo Kante. The guy's the greatest ball winner we've seen in the last 15 years.
Yeah. The crazy thing about Pedri as well, because he's only 22 years of age still, but he's made 190 appearances for Barcelona and 32 caps for Spain. When you think of the talent that Spain have in that area, that they trust a player of his age profile already.
But I think that's a big reason why
Spain and Barcelona.
I think that's a big reason though why he gets overlooked when we talk about the Judes and the Musialas.
Yeah.
People forget that he's their age, but it's because he's been doing it since he was 18 years old. He was starting European Championship games at 18 for Spain.
He looks knackered as well.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
You mentioned Judes, Musialas, neither of them in your team though. You've gone Barella.
Yeah, because it's performances in the Champions League this season. But this is another guy, right, in terms of underrated. I feel like he never really gets his proper flowers. But this week has been big for him. That performance against Bayern has just been the regular for him. He is the cog. I call him the battery of this Inter Milan team. Everything goes through him.
Whenever Inter play well, he plays well. The one thing I love about him, something I want to add to Arsenal, his passing from deep, like
so
spotting runners early and like going over the top.
That pass for the goal was unbelievable. But his technical level is often, for me, really underrated. Obviously, everyone knows he's a workhorse in there. He's so tenacious. But on the ball, he's so clever as well.
Stick him up. He's been named in the Serie A team this season for the last 6 seasons.
He's undoubtedly. He might be the best player in that league, to be honest with you, Barella.
Oh, magnet's fallen.
Contender. Okay, let's go to right winger next, and let's have it.
There we go.
Saka versus Yamal.
I love Saka, but I think this season in the Champions League has to be Yamal. I know I just said this about Pedri, but okay, hear me out. I actually think this guy's the best player in the world. I actually think Yamal is the best footballer in the world based on quality.
Right now.
In terms of how players had better, like more consistent seasons, or like
Right.
in terms of quality, when everybody's playing at their best, this guy wows me every single time he plays. I think you could genuinely make the argument he is, and that's without even taking into consideration his age. But one thing with Yamal that I've heard all season is, his performance is for a 17-year-old. His performances for a 25-year-old would be absolutely ridiculous as well, too.
Yeah.
The creativity, the game against Dortmund, I think he finished off with 1 goal, 0 assists, but his fingerprints are over every single goal. And the dribbling, I think he's one of the best dribblers in the Champions League and La Liga this season. Like the skills, the flair, everything.
I know what you mean. When he's not getting an assist, it's the pass before the assist.
It's the pass before. And there's nothing that symbolizes that on the stat sheet, but he's so crucial to me.
It's quite interesting because I think both of these guys have almost already got signature moments, sort of signature little traits to their game. Like Lamine Yamal come in, that across the back post, Rafinha arriving, like Saka, same thing, come in, the whip shot, left foot, like,
oh my goodness.
to have those like traits to your game as well round as these guys do at their age is
What I would say
scary.
with Saka, though, against Real Madrid, I mean, obviously everyone's talking about Dec's performance because Declan was incredible midweek, but to play at that level when you're just coming back from injury, I know he's been eased in, but the performance levels he put in against Madrid, coming back from an injury, so consistent for Arsenal, isn't it?
It's something that actually frustrated me. We didn't get the ball to him more because actually when he faced someone up out wide, they were quite narrow, so he had the space to go at Alaba. The one thing also, I'm kind of getting a sense of the players you like. I think
the geniuses.
And I hear that, but I think in terms of an all-round game, dealing with contact, beating people, receiving shots, creating 1v1, like if you just go through all the qualities a player can have, Saka ticks every single box, everything. I think Yamal...
But I think Yamal does as well, too. I don't think anything you just said, Yamal does it. And the thing is, you look at every single like attribute in terms of statistics, in terms of chances created, shots taken, big chances, dribbles. He's in like the top 3, top 4 players in like top 5 European leagues. The guy this season has been a statistical anomaly. He's been a performance anomaly. He's been an eye test anomaly. The guy's a joke.
Sorry to do this. In terms of GA, what's Yamal's numbers?
So, Champions League this season, Saka's got 4 goals, 2 assists, but only played 6.
Yeah.
Yamal's got 4 goals, 3 assists, played 10.
I think this is again where I say, and to be fair, I'm going to say this of Saka as well too. Both those Rice free kicks are actually won by Saka.
Yeah.
That's something that doesn't show up on the
And he gets past Bellingham.
But then as well too, Yamal, there's so many opportunities, so many goals that Barca score that he doesn't get the final touch on, or Rafinha will get the final touch on, but it's all him.
If you widen it out, all competitions, Lamine Yamal has 31 goal involvements in 43 games, Bukayo Saka 23 and 27.
So Saka's missed more football.
Both, really.
Saka's missed more football, but in terms of goal contributions, he's ahead of him. It's a bit of a harsh way to judge it, but it's one of them.
I think, look, maybe just based on the fact that Saka's missed such a large proportion of the season, we'll give it to Lamine Yamal because it's such a toss of a coin, and Lamine Yamal's talent level is just...
That goal against Benfica.
Stick him up then,
He's a joke, man. Honestly, he's a joke.
Put him up. Let's do the left winger, which is maybe one of the biggest tap-ins.
Can I make an admission?
But can I just say, didn't you... Yeah, go on. Didn't you change this? You didn't have Rafinha originally.
For some reason, I put someone else at left wing.
Who was it?
It was Kylian Mbappe. Because I basically went, Mbappe goes in the team. And then I had like a day to think about it. And I was like, I can't believe I've done that. And I looked up his numbers. He's at 19 goals and assists in the Champions League.
He's the top scorer in the
That's
Champions
2 away from Ronaldo in 13-14, which is the all-time record.
But Alex, can I say
can't believe I didn't put him on my team.
You know, I'm actually starting to get annoyed with this, like, comparing the champion. Like, he has the same amount of GA as Messi did in... It's a different competition that they're playing now. Like, that's one thing I want to keep stressing. The amount of games that they're playing is more, the quality of the teams, they're playing different teams throughout it. I genuinely think Ronaldo and Messi, in this iteration of the competition, I think they would score 20 goals this season. I genuinely believe that. Ronaldo hit what, 17 in the old Champions League format. I think the teams that they're playing these days and the extra round on top of that, I think Ronaldo and Messi's numbers would be super inflated because of this new format.
But nevertheless, Rafinha has been...
He's been ridiculous,
amazing.
but in terms of comparing it to Messi's best statistical season,
Different eras, yeah.
I think it's a different competition. I honestly think after that, like last season, they should put a line in the sand in terms of the stats.
But even comparing it just to this season, just the players, but he is the top scorer
He's
in the Champions League this season.
But if they're playing more and harder games, you think the numbers would be inflated?
I don't know if they are harder games. Yes, they're playing some harder, but they're also playing a lot of the bottom feeders that in this year's Champions League have 0 wins. They have 1 win. They got 3 points. I just think it's easier to inflate. Guirassy has how many goals in the Champions League this season? Like 10, 9 or 10.
third top scorer. Third top scorer is Harry Kane and Girassi on 10.
I think
Lewandowski on
in
11.
10 years after
Rafinha
this
on 12.
format, you're going to see guys in the top 10 of these goals and assists contributions for Champions League that you would never have seen before.
I also want to give some credit to Hansi Flick because like the system he's created to get the most out of Rafinha is unbelievable.
Okay, stick him up. Let's go to the last position. Interesting debate, this one. Who have you gone with as... Oh,
It's up. That's fine.
There you go.
Yeah, so you're going to say what you said off air? Or?
Yeah, I'm going for Ousmane Dembele.
oh, and you going for? Harry Kane.
Harold Kane.
Okay, so traditionally not a striker.
Not as number 9, though.
He's playing centrally for PSG this season. When you look at that front three, he has this... Oh, I say he plays centrally, but he really has the creative license to go right, left, center, deep, wherever. He's... when you look at PSG, I tweeted this week, I don't know if there's a team that I can remember in recent memory that have done such a 180 of their season midway through the year. Like, they're a completely different team, almost just like that. But I think a huge part of that flick has been this guy's reintegration into the team, but the reintegration into that central position. This is a guy that, since he burst onto the scene with Dortmund and Rennes, everyone has known he's been a world-class talent, but it's always been the inconsistency. This year, I think Luis Enrique has completely unlocked his game. Since January, I'm sure you guys can give me the exact number.
23 goals since January the 1st.
I don't know if anyone has more goals since January than Ousmane Dembele.
He is one of the most informed players by now.
Yeah,
32 goals this season. He's also got the
insane.
most chances created in the Champions League. Absolutely right. Totally agree.
He's
one of
been
the most informed
ridiculous.
players
And I think
right now.
the PSG's change comes down to him.
But as a number 9, Harry Kane's goal contributions are in the Champions League, which we're basing this on, a lot more than Dembele's are. So is that where your thinking's come from?
Yeah, I think we've said this before. I think sometimes when someone is so consistent, the only way people sit up and take notice is when they drop off. But because Kane's been so consistent for so many years, and you could go down the goal contribution route, he makes the game look so simple.
Yeah, 10 goals
It's so
in the
simple
Champions League
for
for Harry Kane, 7 for Dembele, but I know they're playing slightly different positions, so
The
maybe there's other
consistency
factors.
and quality of his finishing.
Dembele only has 7, isn't it 9?
Dembele in the Champions League this season,
Maybe
7
it's
goals,
9
2
goals,
assists,
yeah,
9
9
contributions,
contributions.
you're right. 10 goals, 2 assists for Harry Kane, played a game more.
The consistency and quality of his finishing, how he links up with others, like also just like it's the hardest thing to do in football is put the ball in the back of the net, in my opinion.
I don't think it is
he
the
does
hard.
that.
I think the hardest thing to do in football is to perform in the biggest games consistently. And that's my biggest issue with Harry Kane. Every single year, in high pressure moments, I can't think, because Kane is 1,000% an elite player. As a finisher, he's one of the best I've seen. But he's also the biggest elite player that drops off the most when you need him the most I think I've ever seen. And at times you could use the Spurs argument, but even at Bayern over the last 2 years,
he's won Golden Boots at World Cups.
It's not about
the best record in the North
Yeah, but
London
hold on. When you
derby.
actually look
Thierry
at
Henry,
look at the numbers, like for example, 10 goals this season, 4 of them came against Dinamo Zagreb.
can say that any player.
Hold on, 4 of them are penalties. Like goals are goals, but you also have to look at each one in context. And again, I feel like in the biggest moments, Harry Kane for me, the game against Inter for me it encapsulates his entire career. Yes, he has scored so many goals this season, but in the biggest moments, 1v1, chance to put your team level in that tie, they'd be going to the San Siro 2-2. That's a chance he buries 10 out of 10 times. And with Harry Kane, it's just too many times where he almost always misses that chance in the beginning.
But there's lots of players. Thierry Henry, for example, no choice for his cup final record and goals that.
But we're not even talking cup finals. I'm even talking big champions. I'm talking about big champions. It's not about just finals. I'm talking big Champions League games, big international games. I've never seen a player at Kane's level consistently drop off. And I think the stats this season in the Champions League for me are massively inflated by those 4 goals in the first game against Zagreb when they won like 9-2. And he's got 4 penalties as well too. Dembele in the biggest games for me this season has been better than Kane.
But you're using Dembele's numbers, you know, from across all his games as well. So you have.
No, but for me in the Champions
Fair
League,
point.
that game against City, where they had to win, otherwise they were going out, he changed the game. The game against Liverpool at Anfield, they have to win, or they have to even get a goal. He changed the game. His assist for Mendes at the end.
I think, look, we all agree they're 2 phenomenal players. You could have them in either. I'm probably biased, as you say.
I'm probably the
as a
neutral,
Spurs
aren't I?
fan. So it probably makes sense for Joe as the
I think it's been Ousmane Dembele this season.
okay.
I just think he is. I think they're both Ballon d'Or contenders, but at the moment, I think playing at the higher level is Ousmane Dembele in the Champions League.
Do you feel bad for Kane? Because I do think this consistency point is really important. Like when someone's been that consistent for that long, they get overlooked. It's like De Bruyne has never won a Player of the Month award in the Premier League.
I don't think so. Like De Bruyne in the biggest games, I could never.
Ousmane on the board. Ousmane on the board.
I hear your point.
Well, let us
about
know what you
big
think.
Games.
Yeah,
It's a tough one, isn't it? Let us know what you think.
Let us know what you think at home.